Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Welcome back. Bienvenidos a mi canal. If you hear some in the background, that's my brother watching a movie. Don't worry about it. I hope you guys are well. Happy Saturday or happy Sabbath for those of us who do take it. Or whenever it is you'll see this, happy today. Now, for those of you who do not recognize this face, how y'all doing? My name is Latrice, and this is Faith by Latrice, where faith is the muscle we exercise around here, okay? Now let's jump right into it. Vámonos, no dilly-dallying, okay? So for those of y'all who know, who keeping up with me, I'm reading this book called The Bondage Breaker by Dr. Neil T. Anderson. Now, for those of you who have no idea what that book is or never heard of it in your life, like many people, it is basically centered on talking about spiritual attacks and spiritual warfare and like the battlefield of the mind and all of the thoughts we face and how to combat them and XYZ. And so the man who wrote this book is a believer in Jesus Christ. So that's just a heads up. And how there is a lot of scripture mentioned in this book to like back it up, etc., etc. The point, let's jump on into it, okay? This little passage that I'm about to read y'all, the section is entitled The Basis of Temptation. Let me just read you the first sentence of how it starts out, okay? Follow me, por favor, sígame. It says, have you ever noticed that what may tempt you may not tempt another person and vice versa? I said, first of all, get on my business. That's number one. Get on my business. Because what? That's already starting off. Because something I wrote, because I had all the things in my mind. Have you ever noticed that what may tempt you may not tempt another person, vice versa? Yes, because God already told me before. Let me just tell y'all what I wrote in my book. Basically, you can't do everything everybody else does. I think it was in my last video where I was saying people are going to call or going to tell you to dream smaller and be in this other group. Like, let everybody else over here doing it. Let's go over here. Don't do that. But we are called to stand alone in what God has called us to do. Now, sidebar. Although, yes, we're called to stand alone and be different because we're on assignment, there's a community of us. Yes. So back to the point. You can't do everything everybody else does, right? Because you were never meant to. That's not the way you were set up. You were set apart. Jesus. Jeremiah 1:5, God said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. I sanctified you or set you apart, and I called you a prophet to the nations. From the beginning of everything, you was meant to stand alone. That's just a sidebar. Now, the passage. Now, I'm going to break it up because otherwise it's going to sound like Christianese, so just follow me, okay? The first sentence says, with every temptation comes a choice to live by the Spirit or walk by the flesh. And the consequences of that choice are either the fruit of the Spirit or the deeds of the flesh. Now, what does that mean? It sounds like Christianese. Latrice, what you talking about? Okay, so let's just start off with the beginning, right? So with every temptation comes a choice. That word choice. Comes a choice to live by the Spirit, walk by the flesh. What does it mean to live by the Spirit or walk by the flesh? Mírame. If it sounds like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Even I had to look that up. Like, okay, well, what does that mean to me? So this is how I define it, basically. Living by the Spirit, because God is a spirit. God is the Spirit. And so basically what I wrote was, since God is a spirit, living this way or living in this way is ultimately having your heart toward him and living to please him ultimately and living to be more like him, in a nutshell. And that is versus walking by the flesh. Now, walking by the flesh is basically the opposite of that. And the way this book kind of described temptation was, temptation is an enticement to live independently of God. So it's like, basically, if you're living by the Spirit, you are living for God and having your heart toward him, and living or walking by the flesh is the opposite. Now, if you notice, it's living by the Spirit and walking by the flesh. Both of those things require a choice. Both of those things, you have to make a choice. Which brings me to the title of this topic today. Choose not to be tempted. Choose, make a decision, make a choice not to be tempted. Yes, you have the power to do that. Now, because words mean things. What does the word temptation mean? To tempt, to entice, lead on by exciting hope or desire, To do something often regarded as unwise, wrong, or immoral. So basically, when we succumb to temptation, it's because we've been enticed to do something that's exciting or that we desire. Temptations are not foreign. Okay. Remember how I was saying in this season, especially, or right now in this time period that we're living in, that we are on assignment, that we're grinding, that we're working, that we do all the things. There's going to be distractions and counterfeits coming every which way. Other words, temptation is going to be a temptation to draw your attention away from what you were doing, away from your assignment right now. Oh my goodness. And the point is to make the choice, make the decision to not be tempted. Now, what I wrote in here that also was in the book was choices are easier to make when you know what you believe. Whoo! You cannot be swayed by something if you are already set on something else. If I'm set on the fact that I'm not staying out past 8 o'clock and there's a party that starts at 9:30 with like somebody performing there that I really like, I have already made the choice that I am not staying out past 8 o'clock because I have things that are more important that I'm working towards. I need to get a certain amount of hours of sleep to be functional, to be optimal, right? So that I can do my work at my highest level. Now, if I go to said party, hypothetically, and it starts at 9:30 and there is either alcohol, there's XYZ happening, there's music, there's stuff. And a lot of us of the melanation and of other cultures, we like to show fashionably late. So that's already, you get what I'm saying? You get the point? You have to make up in your mind of what you believe and stand on that. So it's easier to make a decision to not fall for the temptation. Words mean things. The word believe, what does that mean? To have confidence in the truth, existence, or reliability of something, although without absolute proof that one is right in doing so. To have confidence in faith in the truth of a thing. You have to be confident in the fact that I know what I'm doing right now. I know what I'm following right now. I know what the plan is right now. I know what God has me doing. I know what I'm working towards. I know what I'm working for. I know there are things coming to me, but I got to stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Do not fall for the temptation, the deceit, all of the things that look like fluff and glitter. All that glitters is not gold. Okay. I'm not about to drag it out. That's it, y'all. Do not choose not to be tempted. Make a choice because, yes, you have the power to do so. That's it. That's it. I love y'all. I love you guys, okay? If nobody has told you today, esta de hoy que te estoy hablando ahora mismo, en este sábado, okay? I love you. I love you. You got this. I'm on your side. God on your side. We all rooting for you. All right. No, but for real, I love you. That's about it. Listen, y'all know life be lifing. But guess what? We're going to prosper regardless. Bye, y'all.